An update to our flash flood warning. Wake and Durham counties taken out of it, but Chatham County is still in it until 8:30. We'll show you where this cluster of rain is moving toward coming up.
And folks, the rain on the roads. We are seeing wet conditions all across the triangle as people are making their morning commute, which is why we will head to the WRAL storm tracker to show you what it looks like elsewhere.
And arrest investigation. Kinston police are facing tough questions after video reveals one of its officers punching an 18-year-old multiple times. What the department is saying as the family calls for justice.
And school funding challenges. This morning, what's being done to get money unfrozen from the Trump administration and into Wake County schools? A lot of stories we're tracking here on this WRAL Weather Alert Day as you are joining us on this Tuesday. Thanks so much. I'm Chris Levengood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, with that in mind, let's get right back to meteorologist Chris Michaels showing us where the heaviest rain is right now, Chris.
Yeah, some new information this morning. Wake and Durham counties taken out of the flash flood warning, but that warning continues for the next half hour right along the Wake and Chatham County line. Okay, so this is going to be between Pittsboro and Apex, an area that I've been highlighting over the course of the past hour or so, where you've seen about 2 to 4 inches of rain right around Jordan Lake. I just checked the lake levels. They had gone down a little bit over the course of the past 2 days. They've come back up to about 12.5 feet above normal ever since this rain started. You can see radar estimates of about 3 to 4 inches of rain in the red there right along US 64. We have the storm tracker out there. We'll check in with Allie in just a little bit. Meanwhile, some heavy rain heading toward areas like Wake Forest and Youngsville right along Capitol Boulevard. The rest of the rain in Wake County pretty light, and it's mostly as you were to go south of Interstate 40 and I-87. Few lightning strikes there. That'll wake you up early on a Tuesday morning. But as that continues to move southward, things will gradually improve in Apex. Just kind of a yucky start to the day. This does take some of the fuel out of the atmosphere heading into the afternoon. Our better chance of afternoon storms likely in the southern half of the area. Ken?
And Chris, at 8:02, let's get right to the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads this morning. Ali Catlett-Barr, photographer Mark Alexic. They're in Chatham County near Jordan Lake. So, Ali, set the scene for us, if you will.
Yes, and I want to get right to what Chris was just talking about, Jordan Lake right here. That's what you're looking at in the storm tracker. And as he just said, water level, they have been very high above normal. And right now they are just continuing to rise. And so we want to take you to the road, though. Let's get a look at this. This is Farrington Road, right off of Highway 64 in Chatham County. We've seen the rain start to pick up a little bit as we are heading east toward Apex right now. We've seen that rain off and on throughout the morning, the downpours off and on. I've seen some lightning in the past 30 minutes, but and it looks like it is just starting to pick up a little bit more as we heading east toward Apex. We are, I have been tracking using the WRAL weather app throughout the morning, keeping track of that radar, trying to track down those storms that will impact your morning commute. And so I have noticed at least one little outage, about 24 customers impacted in the Raleigh-Durham area. Just keeping you guys updated. Ken, what should people know if they're heading out this morning?
Well, first off, Ali, thank you for that report. Really and truly, leave the house a little sooner than usual. We're seeing congestion building on most of our major routes this morning. US 1 coming in from Apex, Highway 70, those westbound lanes coming in from Clayton and Johnson County and the like. Of course, the northern and southern loop of the Beltline. Of course, you see a handful of incidents dotting our traffic map. But this one I want to bring your attention to at I-540 and Lewisburg Road. We're told that 2 lanes are blocked in that particular area. So I would avoid that area altogether and just use a local route. I'll keep an eye on something for you that may give you an alternative to what's happening there. These are the eastbound lanes of I-40 Aviation Parkway coming into the capital city. You can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic this morning. Similarly, we're seeing congestion building in both directions on I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. This camera still shot was taken in the last few seconds. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated all morning long. 101.5 HD3.
Wake County school leaders have a pretty busy day trying to work out budget challenges that the district is facing. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explained what's being done to get federal funding unfrozen.
Today, parents can find out more about how school leaders are handling this budget issue. Lots of conversations will be happening today here at the school board headquarters. School leaders will share their plans to move forward as they face more than $30 million in federal funding cuts. Check out this list of services that will be impacted. These cuts affect everything from teacher training to support for immigrant students. The district could face even more funding cuts. That depends on how much money they'll receive from the state. Right now, we're waiting on the state's budget. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains where most of these cuts are coming from.
The Trump administration disagreed with how the money was being spent. And they didn't necessarily have a specific complaint with how Wake County was spending the money, but they had examples, across the country where they felt, diversity, equity, and inclusion was being improperly applied. And so they just paused the funding for everyone.
We'll be sure to keep you updated on what comes out of the board's discussions today. You can follow along on WRAL.com. Just click the education tab. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Cary.
And the Kinston Police Department is facing tough questions this morning. A video surfaced showing a Kinston police officer punching an 18-year-old multiple times. We do want to warn you, this is pretty hard to watch. The video was shot by a bystander on Sunday just off of South Tiffany Street. The teen gets punched twice before the other officers arrive and help hold him down. The teen says that he blacked out and suffered a seizure while being detained.
You feel all that weight on you, you can't really tell what's going on with your body.
I do want justice, though. I really do. Because that right there don't make no sense. It really don't.
Kinston police say it is aware of the incident and they are investigating. According to warrants, the officer was responding to a breaking and entering call. Police claim the teen, among other things, refused to comply with the officer's orders. The teen is facing charges of resisting a public officer and communicating threats. And a former Wayne County group home worker is accused of assaulting a man with a disability. That former worker is out on bond this morning. The State Health and Human Services Department, they launched an investigation into 39-year-old Terrence Gray this year. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office says Gray was charged with several counts, including assault and making threats. Investigators say that Gray no longer works at the group home. His next court date is scheduled for next Monday.
An arbitration panel ruled in favor of removing St. Augustine University's accreditation. The HBCU has struggled financially for years. In a statement, university leadership said the school has plans for financial recovery, including securing money for its debt problems. Some advocates for maintaining the accreditation of the HBCU say the panel's decision didn't quite surprise them. Their argument is the school was not doing enough to fix its issues.
Those things weren't addressed. So if you don't address them, then you're not going to get accredited. We alumni do not want our university to go in peril. That university needs to stay. And I'm asking all the partners that we've talked to over these last years to stand with us.
St. Augustine's University says its attorneys will be filing an injunction with the courts to maintain its accreditation during the legal process.
New overnight, temporarily protected Afghans in the U.S. will stay here for now because of a last-minute court ruling. A court ruling will allow roughly 11,000 Afghans in America to keep their status through at least next Monday. Their temporary status was set to be terminated at midnight. The new court ruling will buy more time for a broader ruling on the policy. And temporary protected status for Afghans was first granted back in 2022.
A new timeline for debris cleanup in western North Carolina following Helene. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says that they will need to complete waterway debris removal in 3 counties, and they expect that to be completed by the end of this month. Teams are expected to continue their work at Lake Lure throughout the fall, and the Army Corps of Engineers and contractors are currently removing sediment from the lake bed, which is currently drained.
Well over 9.5 months, the mission continues in a lot of areas.
It is an extremely important effort, and every team member that's come out has been greatly appreciated and been an asset to us getting this finished.
I mean, we've shown you so much video over the last several months of the debris there. Private property debris removal is still underway in Buncombe and McDowell counties, and they expect to start the removal in Lake Lure, Chimney Rock, and Polk County shortly. Your time this morning is 8:09. 911 calls unanswered. A family says their pleas for help during a flood were not respected. Hear why they say a dispatcher was dismissive.
Plus, landmark on fire. Wildfires near the Grand Canyon are forcing hundreds of evacuations. Why the National Park Service let them burn for days without an aggressive attack.
And this morning, the only flash flood warning remaining for the Triangle area is in Chatham County, right around Jordan Lake. Storms now heading southward towards Sanford. I'll give you a live look at our camera down that way coming up in a few minutes. 8:13, a flash flood warning remains in effect until at least 8:30 here, right along Jordan Lake. You can see the heavier rain slowly moving southward towards Sanford. Aside from that, rain pretty steady in Raleigh and areas like Garner as you were to head toward Willow Spring, and some heavier rain right on the Wake and Franklin County line around Wake Forest and around Youngsville as well, moving pretty slowly. There's that storm that's heading down towards Sanford. I'm going to give you a live look at the cloudy sky there over downtown Sanford. You can see the darkening just toward the left-hand side of your screen, so it'll be quite some time before we see that. This morning, rain stabilizing the atmosphere a little bit. That may result in fewer afternoon storms. We'll show you what that may look like with Futurecast coming up in a few minutes.
At 8:13, Chris, is what you can expect if you're getting ready to head out, particularly if I-40 is part of your morning commute. It's I-40 and Aviation Parkway. These are the eastbound lanes, the bumper-to-bumper traffic moving away from us heading into the capital city this morning. We're seeing congestion in both directions on that southern loop of the Beltline, I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You're looking at an 8-minute delay on that southern loop of the Beltline. Over in Durham, really and truly, very little to no delays heading into the Bold City this morning, which is really good news this time of the morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. President Donald Trump says more weapons are on the way for Ukraine as he issues a warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin. In a meeting with the UN Secretary General, President Donald Trump announced that the United States will be sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine to help stave off Russian attacks. Trump was also threatening severe tariffs for Russia if it does not agree to a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. A White House official has confirmed that this could include 100% tariffs from the U.S. on top of secondary sanctions from other countries.
The nation's top health leaders say that nationwide measles outbreak is not a national emergency, not at this point. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says he doesn't think the number of cases reaches that level. He emphasized most cases are among unvaccinated people.
There are some populations that do not want to vaccinate. We're making sure that there are protocols for treating people who actually get measles. So, if in the individual states, if there are issues, we are there for them. But we don't at this point consider it a national emergency.
Measles cases in the U.S. reached nearly 1,300 last week, and that was a record since the disease was eliminated in the country 25 years ago. Only one case is recorded so far in North Carolina.
And the United Nations estimates more than 14 million children did not receive a vaccine last year. Officials say the total is the same as the previous years and spans across 9 different countries. Meantime, a report released last week found that 89% of children younger than 1 had received a first dose of diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough vaccines. It found 85% completed 3 doses. That's an increase of 1% from the previous year.
Facebook's parent company Meta introduced new rules to ensure content originality from creators. Facebook announced that new actions to penalize creators who do not post original content. It says that those who repeatedly and improperly use others' posts as their own will have their pages demonetized for some time. Again, using other people's content will be demonetized. Interesting. Meta recommends creators avoid watermarks, use high-quality captions, and if using bits and pieces of approved content that is not yours, make sure you're using creative editing.
A new UNC Chapel Hill study reports flooding in our state happens more often and is more widespread than previously thought. The study found that more than 20,000 buildings in dozens of previously unmapped areas flooded multiple times between 1996 and 2020. This happened in a part of the state where many were not covered by flood insurance. Nearly half of these buildings were outside areas FEMA officially recognized as high risk.
A Durham family says their pleas for help during Chantal were met with a dismissive tone from a 911 dispatcher, and that was during floodwaters overtaking their home. The Duttons say it took more than an hour for rescuers to arrive. They first called 911 just after 2:45 in the morning, and their last call went out just before 4:30 a.m. They say a dispatcher had an attitude with them.
She was just getting smart, like, we know it's flooding, we know it's happening, we'll send somebody over there.
WRAL took Dutton's concerns to the city leaders, and we asked what they can do to prevent something like this in the future, but we have not heard back yet.
Next time you hit the road, the State Department of Transportation is making sure drivers stay safe. They added new monitors along I-40 and the western part of the state near the Tennessee line to pick up any real-time readings on any earth movement. This will help give you and crews a head start when it comes to safety. The move comes after rock slides and flooding shut down the road weeks ago. And a fast-moving wildfire destroyed a historic lodge and dozens of other structures near the Grand Canyon, forcing hundreds of evacuations. The Dragon Bravo fire began on July 4th along the canyon's north rim. Now, that's an area where most visitors don't venture, but it's burning very quickly. At first, the Park Service said the fire was being allowed to burn to benefit the land. Days after the fire first ignited, the massive White Sage fire, fire number 2, started 35 miles north, at one point growing 20 times in size in 24 hours. Both fires are still burning out of control. More than 70 structures have been lost, including that historic Grand Canyon Lodge, homes of park employees, a visitor center, and several cabins. At least 500 people forced to evacuate, leaving everything behind.
We still have 0% containment. We're in full suppression mode. We're throwing everything we got at it.
The nearly century-old historic Grand Canyon Lodge is destroyed, leaving so many people heartbroken. All employees and guests were safely evacuated, though. That's the bright spot, right? While only about 10% of Canyon tourists travel to the North Rim, it is now shut down for the rest of the season. And Arizona's Governor Katie Hobbs calling for a federal investigation into the Park Service's handling of the fire.
I mean, you have to look at this. Video from Utah shows a rare fire vortex that popped up while crews were battling wildfires. And firefighters captured that video while working on the Deer Creek fire. We're talking about swirling flames and smoke. And this can actually happen when intense heat and air starts rising from the fire itself. The Deer Creek fire scorched more than 10,000 acres since it began last week. And it remains 0% contained as of last night. Evacuation orders remain in place, and at last check, no injuries were reported. Goodness, it's hard not to look at that and think, oh man, hope that something like that never happens here, which not going to be the case today. In fact, the reason why it's a WRAL Weather Alert Day is concerns of rain and flooding. Chris Michaels has been tracking that in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
And once again, just as you're tossing to me, Chris, the National Weather Service extended the flash flood warning for Chatham County until 10:30 this morning. Live look at Apex, and you can see the rain coming down steadily on the Wake County side of things, but this is the flash flood warning that we're talking about that has now been extended until 10:30. Again, that's really going to be around Jordan Lake and areas like Farrington. You see the lightning that's continuing to strike on the Wake, Lee, and Chatham County line. This is just to the south and west of Harris Lake and Jordan Lake. That'll move down towards Sanford probably within the next half hour or so. It's just moving very slowly. Elsewhere throughout Wake County, from Raleigh southward toward Fuquay, areas like Garner and Willow Spring, just dealing with kind of a steady rain. Most of this is just to the west of Knightdale and Zebulon, with some heavy rain now moving toward Franklinton, where you already saw a kind of a wake-up call earlier this morning. Now, the thing about our morning round of rain is it stabilizes the atmosphere, which is less conducive to storminess. So we expect fewer storms heading into the afternoon. Futurecast is taking note of that little bit of a change here. As we head into the afternoon, it's not that chances are completely zero. There's just not going to be quite as many. They'll be pretty hit and miss after 2 or 3 p.m. Where they form, though, they're going to move slowly. So some of you get absolutely nothing, whereas others get a deluge. Case in point, areas like Jordan Lake today. As we head into the evening, better chance of showers and storms will be up toward Martinsville, Virginia, and if you were to go more close to Mount Airy. So in terms of the flood risk this afternoon, it's low north of I-40, and even though storm chances are higher toward the Sandhills, you can take some of the rain that you get. Dog walking forecast out there today. Eventually we get to about 85 to 90 degrees before we see some of those hit or miss storms out there. And in the tropics, a quick update there. National Hurricane Center holding on to the 40% chance of development. That system staying south and west of the area. In the meantime, turning hotter as we head into the weekend with highs in the mid-90s. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Let's get right to the WRAL Storm Tracker out on the roads this morning, giving you a first-hand account of what you can expect as you're heading out. Photographer Mark Alexic, Ali Catalbar in the WRAL Storm Tracker. They're on Highway 64 coming in out of Apex this morning. You can see the bumper traffic going through, windshield wipers going. The rain has let up just a little bit, but that being said, I still would encourage you to leave the house a little sooner than usual this morning just to be on the safe side. Handful of incidents dotting on live traffic map this morning. This crash just cleared. It was on Glenwood Avenue right near the mall right there at Crabtree Valley Mall. And it's still seeing some lingering delays even though that crash has cleared. Raleigh Police has already cleared that area right now.
All right, thank you, Ken. Still ahead, tracking inflation. Is it finally cooling off? 5 on your sides. Keely Arthur takes a look at the trends this summer and shows us which prices remain stable and which ones are heating up.
And plastic and yogurt. The recall we have to tell you about if this brand on your screen is in your fridge.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Let's get right over to meteorologist Chris Michaels with a look over RDU. We've seen some passing rain. It's not over.
Yeah, it's not over just yet, but it is at least a little better than it was 2 or 3 hours ago at RDU. In fact, some planes taken off there, so not seeing any major delays, at least leaving the area just yet. The exception may be some folks to the north and east. Pittsburgh getting done with the heaviest rain. Flash flood warning, however, remains right around Jordan Lake until 10:30 this morning. Rain remains steady at times all throughout Wake County from Apex to Holly Springs, Fuquay to Garner. We'll help you plan around that for the rest of the commute coming up. Ken?
8:27, your window on your morning commute starting with this live look courtesy of our live cam network at I-40 and Aviation Parkway. These are the eastbound lanes coming into the capital city, moving away from us this morning. We're seeing some heavy congestion on that southern loop of the Beltline in both directions. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. In terms of drive times, here's what you're looking at. You're looking at a 9-minute delay if you're using that southern loop of the Beltline like I just showed you. If you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, Highway 36 to the Beltline, you're looking at a 5-minute delay at this point.
All right, thank you, Ken. Today, parents may get answers on how Wake County schools will handle funding problems. It faces more than $30 million in federal funding cuts. That would impact training and support services. Board members will attend a retreat ahead of today's regularly scheduled meeting. And a man accused in a Rocky Mount shooting is out of jail on bond. Police say 26-year-old Daquan Johnson turned himself in at the Edgecombe County Jail yesterday. He's accused of shooting 29-year-old Reggie Joyner on West Raleigh Boulevard early Sunday morning. Next on Fox 50, making a comeback, Zebulon's former town manager is making a run for mayor.
And we're tracking some additional rain for the rest of the morning commute and a flash flood warning for Chatham County that's been extended until 10:30 this morning. We'll show you some of the trouble spots and when this comes to an end coming up.
Fighting the funding freeze. What Wake County school leaders are doing to address budget challenges in connection to federal money being withheld.
And cost climb. New tariffs are raising the prices of everyday items in your home. The steps that you can take to avoid those steep price tags. Thank you so much for sticking with us here on your Tuesday. It's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Chris Levingood. Ever since Chris Michaels issued a WRAL Weather Alert Day, he's been trying to update you moment by moment, especially as it relates to flood warnings. And Chris, I think there's been some updates you've been getting in the past 30 minutes or so.
Right. So within the last half hour, Chatham County, your flood warning has been extended until 10:30. And when I say Chatham County, I'm really talking about the areas that surround Jordan Lake, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Whereas the parts of Wake County like Apex, Cary, and Morrisville have been taken out of a flash flood warning. Rain continues throughout a decent chunk of Wake County, areas like Apex, Raleigh, Garner, Holly Springs, and Fuquay. But here's that flash flood warning in the red. There's US 64. There's Jordan Lake, and radar estimating about 3 to 5 inches of rain in an area that can't take much more. So I've been keeping an eye on the lake levels at Jordan Lake. Normal is 216 feet. It's been as high as 230 since Chantal, and it's risen by about a half a foot since this morning. It's back up to 228.5 feet. In fact, Sheriff Mike Robertson has been talking on Facebook about staying off the water for the time being. And you don't want to be out there anyways with the lightning. That's right on the Chatham and Lee County line. There's your steady rain that continues to move from Garner into Clayton down south toward areas like Four Oaks, Benson, and Dunn. Not expecting any flooding out of that. We'll show you what this morning round of rain means as we look ahead toward the afternoon and evening coming up.
8:32. Let's get right to the storm tracker and check in with Ali Catlabar, photographer Mark Alexic there in Wake County. They've been all over Wake County and surrounding communities right now. So set the scene for us where you are and let us know what's going on.
Yes, Ken, we are on US 1 North in Cary, and you can see we have our windshield wipers on. It's sprinkling a little bit. The roads are definitely wet, and there is a little bit of traffic, a little bit of slowdown here. But as you said, we've seen downpours throughout the morning. Luckily, we are seeing it get a little bit lighter with just a little bit of sprinkles. But what should people know as they head out the door this morning, Ken?
I tell you what, basically leave the house a little sooner than usual just to be on the safe side. Some congestion building on some of our major routes, like the northern loop of the Beltline as well as the southern loop of the Beltline as well. Also coming in from Johnston and Garner this morning. It's a situation where just a couple of incidents we want to bring your attention to, mainly in Garner. This one on Guy Road and Highway 70. We're seeing a little bit of slowdown there on Guy Road, so keep that in mind if that's part of your morning commute. Also in Garner, this crash on Highway 70 right near Timber Drive, right near the shopping centers there, the Target there in Garner. We're not seeing any delays in that particular area, but do be mindful of the police officers working that scene. Here's I-40 and Aviation Parkway. These are the eastbound lanes moving away from us. You can see it's rather busy there on I-40. And we're seeing congestion in both directions on I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. There's the southern loop of the Beltline. Those are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. In terms of your drive time, you're looking at an 11-minute delay on that southern loop of the Beltline. You're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, between Highway 36 and the Beltline, you're looking at a 4-minute delay. And similarly, on Wade Avenue westbound, you're looking at a 4-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Wake County School Board members will be working around the clock today, and in just a few hours, they're going to attend a retreat and discuss several issues, including the financial challenges they're facing. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey has been following this story this morning. And Kelsey, they're expected to talk about the ongoing budget challenges.
Yes, Chris, today parents may get some answers about the school board's budget issues that they'll be facing. Lots of conversations happening here at the school board headquarters later today. School leaders will work on coming up with a plan for how to move forward after facing more than $30 million in federal funding cuts. So check out some of the services that could be impacted by this. These cuts could affect everything from teacher training to support for immigrant students. The district could face even more funding cuts. That just depends on how much money they'll receive from the state. Right now, we're waiting on the state's budget. The state superintendent spoke yesterday about the impacts parents may notice next school year.
They may see, for example, a particular classroom that existed last year that may not exist this year. They may not see some of the professional development activities that are done behind the scenes to prepare new teachers, but that may result in those teachers not being fully prepared to support students when they arrive.
And coming up in the next half hour, you'll hear from WRAL Education insider Emily Walkenhorst as she explains where all these cuts are coming from. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
And WRAL will follow today's conversation on school funding throughout the day. Be sure to tune in to WRAL Evening News starting at 4 p.m.
New this morning, a man accused in a Rocky Mount shooting is out of jail on bond. Police say 26-year-old Daquan Johnson turned himself in at the Edgecombe County Jail yesterday. He's accused of shooting 29-year-old Reggie Joyner on West Raleigh Boulevard early Sunday morning. Joyner is expected to recover. And that shooting was one of 3 that happened in Rocky Mount over the weekend. No arrests have been made in a shooting that left 2 people dead on Virginia Street a little before 3 Sunday morning. 19-year-old Rio Steele and 20-year-old Loren Dickens were killed. And there have also been no arrests in a shooting that happened outside Buffalo Wild Wings on Ring Road Saturday night. 29-year-old Justin Cantris was injured. If you have any information about any of the shootings, call Rocky Mount Police.
A 17-year-old is facing 3 charges connected to a drive-by shooting, and a man was injured because of that. Creedmoor police say they received tips about the owner of this truck you see here on the screen. They say it was used in the shooting near Harris Park on Sunday afternoon. That teenager is charged with assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury, and possession of a firearm by a minor. The man who was shot is out of surgery and at last check is recovering. This morning, the man accused of killing UNC student Faith Hedgepeth will be in court on new charges. Miguel Enrique Salguero Olivares is charged with drug-related offenses while in jail, and they include possession of meth and possession with the intent to distribute meth. Salguero Olivares is accused of killing Hedgepeth in 2012. The SBI is looking for a man connected to a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. A Raleigh man and his brother are accused of operating at least 2 businesses claiming to sell antique cars online. Investigators say the brothers collected at least $3 million from interested buyers, but without delivering a vehicle. Valentin Verli, Zanu, was arrested on Sunday in Pender County, and his brother Vasil, well, he's still wanted.
Happening today, Zebulon's former town manager will formally launch his campaign for mayor. Gilbert Todd will kick it off at the Zebulon Rotary Club at 6 p.m. He plans to talk about why he's running and his vision for the town. In April, Todd and assistant town manager Kellyanne Williams resigned within 4 days of each other.
4 people, including 2 children, are in the hospital because of a plane crash in Florida. And new video shows the moment that small plane crashed in a neighborhood. This happened Sunday night in Pembroke Pines, and that's just north of Miami. All 4 people aboard that plane were taken to a nearby hospital, and 2 of the people aboard were teenagers. The cause of that crash is still being investigated.
The Kids Exchange consignment sale is underway. It's at the Jim Graham Building on the State Fairgrounds in Raleigh, and you can stop by for high-quality, gently worn kids' clothing, toys, shoes, furniture, and more, all at discount prices. Sellers can drop off their items over the next 2 days. Volunteers get to shop tomorrow. There's a private sale on Thursday, and the free public sale runs Friday through Sunday.
Time is 8:38. Tainted treat. A popular yogurt is being pulled from shelves. Why it could be dangerous if you take a spoonful.
And price hikes. The cost of appliances is on the rise after new tariffs. How you can avoid paying too much for your next purchase.
We do want to give you a live look at the roadways in Wake County on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is tracking the threat of flooding that you make sure you want to watch. And just a reminder, you can, of course, follow along with us with what's happening with the WRAL News app, but you can also take pictures and videos of what you see when it's safe to do so and send it to us at WRAL.com/reported. You can upload what you see there, and we will share your pictures on video, on TV, and online.
.43 this morning, a live look at Fenton and Cary, where the rain is still coming down. It's fairly light, though. It's nothing that's going to pose a huge risk to us. Flash flood warning, meanwhile, has been extended for areas like Jordan Lake until 10:30. National Weather Service just giving it some time for the rainfall to run off a little bit. Lightning count still pretty high in the southern part of Chatham County, right on the Lee County line. In the meantime, rain is still falling at a steady clip from Raleigh south toward Garner, Fuquay, Holly Springs, Clayton, and Smithfield, and that moves farther south toward areas like Anger, Lillington, Dunn, Four Oaks, and Benson, although I'm not concerned about flooding as you head farther south. The risk for flooding heading into the afternoon is considered low, whereas yesterday it was medium, and you see that medium risk is more out toward the foothills in the Piedmont. I'll show you what this morning round of rain could mean for our afternoon storm chances coming up. Ken?
All right, Chris, let's take a spin around the Beltline, starting on the northern loop of the Beltline. Those are the westbound lanes coming toward us this morning. You can see those damp road conditions. Similarly, the southern loop of the Beltline, I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, boy, those are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. Just bump of traffic as you're heading out this morning. In terms of drive time, you're looking at an 11-minute delay if you're using that southern loop of the Beltline. You're using Wade Avenue to get to Durham this morning. You're looking at a 4-minute delay. And if you're coming in from Gardner, Johnston County, just a 3-minute delay to the Beltline.
And Jeff Hogan at the WRAL Live Center right now with the much anticipated consumer price index numbers just out from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And this is what we pay. Consumers every day pay for things that we need, like eggs. It's always the hot topic. So as we look at eggs, there are a couple different ways to look at the headline. One of them you see here, the Associated Press reporting inflation accelerated last month to the highest level since February. Now, while that is true, it is at 2.7%. OK, so that is right in line with what experts thought that they would get out of this month as the tariffs have slowly worked their way into the economy. But another way to look at it here is what CNBC is reporting. Picked up again, rising at 2.7 annual rate. Again, as I said, that is right in line with what the experts expected to get. Now, although inflation has been up the last couple of years, 500 Side's Keely Arthur explains just which areas of inflation still cost more than they used to and what you can do about it.
For the past few months, the CPI reports, which are put out monthly, have shown that the price of things are costing around 2 to 3% more than they did last year. But one category that is certainly outpacing that: large appliances. For example, the May CPI report showed a 4.3% increase in the price of major appliances compared to April, following a 1.3% jump the month before. Now, that uptick is partly due to tariffs, which drive up costs because so many appliances are made overseas or rely at least on imported parts. So what can you do to keep your costs down? First, consider repairing the appliance you already have instead of replacing it. Second, shop around. Most big box stores offer price matching, and local mom and pop shops may even negotiate with you. According to Consumer Reports, it never hurts to ask for a better deal.
2/3 of our members who sought a discount on their major appliances were successful, and they saved a median of $123 total.
And while fixing your appliance is a good idea, I'd caution you to stay away from home warranty programs. Those are programs that you can purchase and then they'll cover the cost of an appliance to be fixed. We've had a lot of complaints regarding those. So my advice here is to instead save that money yourself, put it in a rainy day fund so that way you can grab it right away. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell requested the central bank's inspector general to review its headquarters renovation project. The ongoing renovation cost about $2.5 billion. And last month, lawmakers grilled him about the upgrades during a congressional hearing. Top Trump leaders accused Powell of lying under oath. And the White House chief of staff was just appointed to a government group overseeing that renovation.
A popular yogurt is being recalled after plastic pieces were found in it. Dannon is recalling its Yo Crunch yogurt products because plastic pieces could be in the top portion of the product. The company says that people could possibly choke if they swallowed those pieces. The recall covers every flavor and size with expiration dates from early July to early September. If you have this yogurt, you are asked to throw it out or call the company for a refund.
Parts of Texas are under flood watches and advisories as lingering rainfall is set to stick around today. Kerr County is where recent deadly flooding killed more than 100 people alone, and now new recovery efforts are underway there. Many people were urged to move to higher ground as additional flooding is possible. And as of this morning, a total of 132 people were confirmed dead from 4th of July flooding. Hundreds of people are missing.
This morning, crew members of the Axiom Mission 4 are back home.
And we have splashdown of the AX-4 crew back on planet Earth.
Welcome home.
The Dragon capsule splashed down in the Pacific off of the coast of California about an hour ago. 4 astronauts were a part of that mission. The space journey took an estimated 22 hours. And while on the ISS, the crew conducted 60 scientific experiments and research studies as well.
Good times never seem so good for one theater that was in LA recently. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
A surprise appearance by Neil Diamond. The legendary singer-songwriter showed up at a Hollywood performance of A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, and led the audience in a rendition of his 1969 hit, Sweet Caroline. Diamond announced his retirement 7 years ago, revealing he'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Andrew Garfield is re-teaming with Luca Guadagnino. The actor has joined the cast of Guadagnino's Artificial, described as a comedic drama set in the world of artificial intelligence. Garfield recently worked with the filmmaker on After the Hunt, which is due in theaters October 10th.
The total for Summer Games Done Quick 2025 is $2,436,614.
That's how much the latest Games Done Quick video game speedrunning marathon raised for Doctors Without Borders. This year's event was held in Minneapolis. All of the runs are archived on the Games Done Quick YouTube channel. Leveling Up in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A Hope County deputy is being celebrated for his heroic actions. A call came in about a house fire shortly before 8:30 yesterday morning, and Deputy Medic Lee Black was the first to arrive on the scene and went into the smoke-filled home before crews even got there. He found an elderly man inside and brought him to safety. Deputy Medic Black confirmed the man was the only one inside at the time and then switched his focus to making sure that he was okay.
You always hear the cliche of fire, firefighters are running into the fire when other people are running out. I mean, that's what we're trained to do. That's what we do. I mean, I'm not a hero. I just did my job today, what I'm paid to do.
Investigators are still working to determine what started that fire. Deputy Medic Black is one of the several cross-trained deputies in the department that serve as both deputies and paramedics. The program was started last year.
And clearly seeing benefit from that program. All right, we do want to go to why today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. And Chris, I've seen you look back and forth at your updates there from the National Weather Service because we keep seeing updates regarding flooding.
And yet again, another update just came through on my watch that there's a flash flood warning for this little cell right here on the Chatham and Lee County line. That's going to be in effect until noon. This flood warning is for Jordan Lake specifically, or right around that, until 10:30 this morning. We'll back up the view, and this is the storm right here, right on that Chatham and Lee County border that has stalled and produced a couple inches of rain at least, and is resulting in that flash flood warning right around areas like Goldston. In the meantime, for the rest of Wake, Johnston, Harnett counties, if you were to go from Fuquay to Anger, Lillington to areas like Benson, Smithfield, Selma, just looking at some light rain coming through, no flood risk attached with that. There's a live look at Sanford. The rain is falling pretty lightly. The worst of this storm that produced that new flash flood warning is off toward your north. So here's Futurecast showing that remaining cell fizzling out as we get closer to midday. Now, the thing with this morning round of rain is that it's taken up a decent amount of energy in the atmosphere. So as we head beyond 2 p.m., storms that we see are largely going to be very hit and miss. But where they do develop, they'll produce heavy rain. They'll move pretty slowly. And I see the best chance of development being farther to the south in areas like Fayetteville, maybe Hope Mills, areas like Clinton and Salemsburg in Sampson County. That's going to last us up until about sunset. And then after that, your best shot of showers and storms is probably going to be farther to the west. 40% chance of a tropical storm that is off toward our south, heading toward the Gulf, and then moving up from there. No direct impact expected here in central North Carolina, aside from it just being tropically humid. That's how we'll word it. It is sticky out there, and that's going to continue to lead to the heat index being very high. Today it peaks in the mid to upper 90s. That's not too bad considering where we've been, but it's only going up as we head into the weekend. Temperatures going up, storm chances for the most part coming down, not completely zero. There'll be a little more hit and miss heading into the weekend with high temperatures around 95 degrees.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. And before we go to break, here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.